My name is Bea. I am 24 years old. Allow me to share a little bit about myself. I am the eldest daughter, the eldest grandchild, and the eldest cousin in a Filipino family. According to Adlerian perspective, this says that I am a reliable person, an achiever, conscientious, but also very controlling. So I guess this is why I landed a job in the academe. I teach the youth for a living. I am a kawani ng gobyerno and work as a high school teacher. So my students are grade 9 and grade 10. A typical day at work is me giving out 3 to 4 lectures a day with topics ranging from compassion of Generation Z to planning for a rewarding and fulfilling career to science for progress. And remember when you used to have advisors, that's also part of my high school, job description. I'm a high school advisor. On top of that, I also do admin work and prepare my subject implementation programs. As if that isn't enough, I'm also pursuing higher education. I'm in my second year in graduate school. I'm studying MS Psychology. My life goal is to become one of the best psychologists here in the Philippines, all the while strengthening my advocacy in mental health, women's rights, LGBTQIA+ rights, and positive youth development. Now, I like to think of myself as an extrovert, so I get my energy from being surrounded by people, just like now. I recently got engaged to the love of my life. We've been together for 4 years. Currently, he's living in Japan, so we're in a long-distance relationship. I'm planning for my wedding, which hopefully happens at the start of 2024. Oh, and did I tell you that I blog as well? So, daghan na, no? So, some people in my life ask me, Bea, yun sa mala ni mo tanan, how do you stay sane? Honestly, I have no idea. And on a more serious note, I think this is why I'm in therapy. So I started seeking professional help when I was 22 years old. I went through trauma-based therapy when I got diagnosed with acute stress disorder and then major depressive disorder, and only recently was I diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. Therapy helped me understand and accept the way my brain works. And I understood now that my brain is just built different from other people. From the outside looking in, I seem okay. Now, society might consider me a fully functioning adult. But some days are harder than the rest. So I guess I'm here to talk about those days when you feel so uncertain about your role as an adult, of how it feels to navigate your 20s in this generation. And by the end of this talk, maybe you'll pick something up from my story. So here are 20 things I wish I knew before I hit my 20s. Number 1, when your college seniors tell you to enjoy your time as a student, believe them. Yes, I know you're stressed out already. You're done with yearbook pictorials, you're excited. You're done with your last intramurals, your last final exams, and the last time you'll ever get to see your crush in the same cafeteria. Now, your time as a student, regardless of how it turned out for you, will be one of the most memorable time of your life. So don't focus so much on the future that you forget or ignore what's in front of you. 2, remember that assignment you wrote when you were younger about creating a life plan. The one where you had to plot your life from your 20s to your 30s to your 40s. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now? Yeah, so it doesn't actually turn out that way. 3, but it's normal for plans to change. It's okay if your goals when you were 18 look different now that you're 22. Yes, that is a Taylor Swift reference. 4, you don't actually get to keep all of your friends. Sometimes you will outgrow each other. Sometimes you will develop different values, or maybe you just start drifting apart. But the good news is, they will always leave a mark in your life. It's up to you to decide whether it's a good one or not. 5, What they don't tell you though is that losing friends, it's a different type of heartbreak too. It is gut-wrenchingly painful. However, it makes you appreciate the ones that stayed. 6, you will go through stages of grief for not becoming the person you thought you were supposed to be now that you are in your 20s. When I got diagnosed, my heart was broken. I thought my life was over. I'll never be normal again. But 7, you will come to realize that you love this version of yourself too. You will realize that everything fell into place so that you can be here at this exact moment. And your younger self will thank you for it. But boy, oh boy, it will take a lot of patience, understanding, and grace. Number 8, you should have had less social media presence. This one is self-explanatory. 9, your path will look very different from your peers. It doesn't matter if they're into relationships and you're still single. Doesn't matter how fast they landed their job or how stable their career might seem. In the end, life is a race, but it is only with yourself. Comparison is the thief of joy. And success is personal. There is no one out there that gets to tell you that you are not successful but yourself. Number 10. You will have to accept that life comes with its routines. The days are long, the weeks and months are short. This is why you can't waste time because life goes by so quickly. So when asked, what is it that you want to do with your one and precious life, we respond with, I'm going to live every minute of it. 11. Sometimes, rejection is realignment. Yes, it might hurt at the moment, but it also means that the right opportunity or person is still out there. 12. Believe in your mother's sixth sense. Anak siya murag red flag daw imong uyab, believe her. Anak siya na, murag maot man batasan si mong friend langga, believe her. 13. There is no such thing as a perfect family, a perfect parent, or a perfect child. In your 20s, you will come to realize that your parents and the adults in your life, they're human too. I want us to understand that our parents, the adults in our lives, did the best that they could with the resources that were available to them at that time. So 14, healing takes time. Even more time than it took us to hurt. There might be a lot of us here who are healing the inner child or healing the inner teenager. But here's what we have to remember. We have to be active in our own healing. No one else can save us but ourselves. Instead of hoping to just get over it, blaming others, think of healing as an active practice. And remember, slow progress is still progress. 15. I'm afraid they are right. Exercise really does help. You will find yourself the happiest person on earth when you finish that 2-minute planking. But you will also find yourself asking, why? Ano murag taas man ka ito na 2 minutes? 16. Acknowledge your privileges. It's important to know where we stand in this world. It helps us realize and identify what we can do to make it a better place for others. So in your 20s, I hope you are building your own advocacies. Because there is nothing more fulfilling than knowing you are making an impactful change in the lives of others. 17. Just because you're made to feel like a failure for not knowing exactly what you want doesn't necessarily mean that you are a failure. 18. One thing to consider is that after graduation, it's going to be a rough transition into adulthood. No matter how many times you try to run towards a bright future, you get sidetracked. Whether it's the economy, because of inflation, the pandemic, being stuck in a low-level position, or finding yourself in a relationship you thought you wanted, you will really wonder if you will get there, if this is still worth it. And just know that everyone feels this way, especially in their 20s. 19. The bad news is, no one has it all figured out. 20. The good news is, no one has it all figured out. The 20s is when we all start to becoming adults. We now start to gain a level of control in our lives unlike ever before. But why does this make us feel so uncertain? In a study done by Arnett in 2000, they proposed emerging adulthood as a new concept of development from the late teens through the early 20s, with a focus on ages 18 to 29. Arnett goes on to say that there are 5 characteristics of emerging adulthood. Number 1, this is the age of identity exploration. So when you are in your 20s, you realize you are wearing many hats. Some days, you are the strong, independent career woman who can take on the world. Other days, you are your mother's child and sulod kasi ang kwarto, kay mayon kag ma, pwede nimo i-massage akong likod kay sakit na kaayo. Other days, you will regress to your younger self. But identity exploration may be draining, but it's also necessary. You will be in a constant state of self-discovery in your 20s, and I hope you appreciate that. This is also the age of instability. This is where the word uncertainty finds its place. So emerging adults change jobs, relationships, and residences more frequently than any other age group. To be transparent with you, I think I'm already in a stable job. My career is flourishing. Stable na po ang relationship. But this isn't something that I earned. It isn't because I got lucky. I acknowledge the privileges I had along the way, but I worked really, really hard to get where I am now. And if you ask me, what's the most unstable part of my life? It will definitely be my finances. Age of self-focus. So emerging adults start to realize that this is the time where they can actually do what they want with their lives. But here's the thing. You grow older and you gain independence. As you gain independence, you make your own decisions. And the burden of this freedom can be so paralyzing. But I want you to consider one thing in your 20s. You are not selfish nor ungrateful when you decide that you want to do something more for yourself. This is also an age of feeling in between. I'm making all of these adult decisions, but sometimes I still don't feel like an adult. What do I mean by that? Well, like I said earlier, career woman here, engaged and everything. But the thing is, I still live with my mother and younger brother. We still live in my grandparents' house. So sometimes, I find myself regressing back to my younger self. And so maybe this is what it means to feel in between of things. But lastly, this is the age of possibilities. Personally, I think being in your 20s comes with a lot of dread. We are afraid of getting older. And yet, through these uncertainties, this is also a time period of optimism that we can someday reach our favorite versions of ourselves. So if there's something that I want to leave you with, it's this. In your 20s, you will experience both grief and expansion. And that's the thing about transitions. You will lose something, but if your eyes and your heart remain open, you will grow. Even through the hard stuff. You will grieve, and yet you will grow. Make sure you hold space for both. The main takeaway I want to leave with you is this. If you are in your 20s and feel pressure to have it all figured out, don't. Honestly, wala ko kabalong nako ninakaya tanan. But here's what worked out for me. No matter how scary it gets, just show up. My hope is that we readily face whatever life throws at us, no matter how painstakingly obvious it is that we are not ready for it. Because plot twist, you will almost always not be ready. But the upside is, so will the rest of us. So, keep on taking up space, grow where you are planted, get ready for the rainstorms, be more grateful for the sunshine, and eventually, you will bloom.